Okay, imagine trying to build a bridge between two, well, seemingly completely different philosophical mountains.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We're talking today about Henri Corbin. He was a French thinker who did something pretty remarkable, almost unthinkable, really.
Uh-huh.
He was the very first French translator of Martin Heidegger, the huge figure in German existentialism.
Right. Massive influence.
But at the same time, he was the person who basically introduced the whole complex world of Iranian Islamic philosophy to the West.
It sounds like a contradiction waiting to happen, doesn't it? Like, how do you even juggle those two?
Exactly. And people at the time, interviewers, they were baffled. They'd ask him, how can one person be so deep into Heidegger, which feels so, I don't know, Western German, and also be the top expert on Iranian Islamic metaphysics?
Yeah, the reconciliation question. How on earth did he make sense of these two massive, seemingly opposing intellectual paths?
And that's what we're digging into today. We want to unpack Corbin's answer, which is actually pretty surprising.
It wasn't really about reconciling in the way we might think, like finding some middle ground.
No, not a compromise.
Yeah.
He found something deeper, a shared foundation, almost. And he used insights from one tradition, like a lens, to understand the other one better. So we'll be focusing on sort of two main ideas. Hermeneutics, which is basically the art and science of interpretation, and this concept of presence, which can be a bit tricky.
Right. So hopefully you'll get a really unique take on knowledge, meaning, and, how these intellectual borders maybe aren't as solid as they seem.
Corbin himself actually pointed out that people being astonished, well, it showed their own way of thinking was kind of enclosed.
Yeah, he felt the contradiction just wasn't there if you truly understood what philosophy is.
He had this great line about language differences just being topographical variations for a real philosopher. Details, not the core quest.
Exactly. It's about the human search for meaning, fundamentally.
So is he a German specialist?
Yeah.
An expert in Eastern languages? Well, yes, but first and foremost.
Well,
Right. He said he just follows his spirit. If that took him to Freiburg for Heidegger or to Tehran and Isfahan for Islamic thought.
those are just symbolic cities, stops on the same journey.
It's fascinating, too, because some people thought, well, he must have turned to Sufism because he got disillusioned with Heidegger or something.
Yeah, he pushed back hard on that. He pointed out his big work on Suhrawardi, the Persian philosopher, actually came before his Heidegger translations.
So it wasn't a reaction against?
No, not at all. He actually claimed he was looking for and found the same fundamental things in both Heidegger and Iranian Islamic thought.
The same things. That's quite a claim.
It is. He wasn't ditching one for the other. It was one single, deep philosophical search. He explicitly said what he learned from Heidegger, he then found again, maybe on a different level, in the Iranian tradition.
And that search became his life's work, basically, spending decades in Iran after the war.
Pretty much, yeah. 3 decades dedicated to exploring Iran's spiritual heritage.
Okay, so if he found the same fundamental insights, what was the connection? He talked a lot about Heidegger's hermeneutics. Why was that so important?
Well, Corbin saw Heidegger's big move as putting hermeneutics right at the center of doing philosophy.
Interpretation as the core activity.
Exactly. Now, the word hermeneutics might have sounded a bit strange, maybe even barbaric, as Corbin put it,
Yeah.
to philosophers back then, but it's an old idea.
From Greek, used in biblical studies.
Right, deep theological roots. Corbin mentioned Schleiermacher, the Protestant theologian, as being really key, influencing thinkers like Dilthey later on.
So interpreting texts for deeper meaning wasn't new, but Heidegger elevates it to the philosophical method itself.
Precisely. And Corbin saw this incredible link, this resonance between Heidegger's philosophical hermeneutics and how interpretation worked within the religions of the book, Judaism, Christianity, and especially Islam.
How did he connect those? Because contemporary thinkers maybe weren't seeing that theological link.
He felt they often missed it. For Corbin, the hermeneutics in those religious traditions was this sort of spontaneous interpretation that wasn't just about history, but about keeping the text alive for the future, unveiling its inner hidden meaning, the esoteric dimension.
Ah, okay. So it's not just what it mean back then, but what does it reveal now inwardly?
Exactly. And that's where philosophical hermeneutics becomes the key, as he saw it, to unlocking the hidden, the baten.
And this is where it really clicks together, isn't it? He saw parallels between Heidegger's words for uncovering, like Erschließen or Entdecken.
Unlocking, discovering.
Yeah, and the Arabic and Persian ideas of Zahir and Batin, the outer apparent thing and the inner hidden reality.
It's a striking alignment. He really felt that phenomenology, the study of conscious experience, used language that echoed the vocabulary of the great Islamic theosophers.
Like terms for appearance manifestation.
Yeah, Arabic terms like zuhur, appearance, or mazar, the place where something shows itself, it reflects these different hermeneutical levels of being.
Levels of meaning, levels of reality.
Right, and he was always warning his students, don't mix these levels up. You need phenomenology and hermeneutics to navigate them properly.
So the fundamental idea is about unveiling the hidden, getting past the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we are the veil just because we aren't, tuned in to the right level of interpretation.
That's exactly it. For the Islamic theosophers, unveiling the batin, the inner, that's hidden by the zahir, the outer, that's what ta'wil means, authentic interpretation. It's like ascending through these levels.
Like climbing a ladder of meaning.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
He used Ibn Arabi's explanations of God's names as a perfect example. But here's a crucial difference he pointed out. A historian studies a past they weren't present for.
Right, they describe it from a distance.
But a phenomenologist, in Corbin's view, has to be present, that's the jaw size, the being there, to actually reveal what's hidden in that past and open up its future potential.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. Think about a concert. A historian tells you about the concert last week, facts, figures, maybe reviews, but the phenomenologist, in Corbin's sense, needs that Dasein, that being there.
Yeah.
They're not just listening to a recording. They're in the room experiencing the music revealing itself in that moment.
Ah, okay. That presence unlocks the deeper meaning.
Exactly. It's the condition for unveiling.
Which leads to that great analogy you used. Heidegger's hermeneutics is like a key.
Right.
And it might be the key for Heidegger's specific philosophical house. But you don't have to buy the whole house to use the key.
Precisely. You just give this key the shape that makes it suitable for the lock you want to open.
You adapt the tool.
It's all about how you shape and use that key, hermeneutics. And it works from that active presence in the Dasein. Its job is to light up human presence.
Okay.
But here's where a massive philosophical choice appears. Heidegger's analysis of Dasein, of human existence, leads him to define our finitude as being towards death.
The famous phrase, yeah, facing our own mortality.
But the Islamic metaphysics Corbin was exploring, people like Mullah Sadra or Ibn Arabi, they culminate in a metaphysics of presence that is fundamentally about existence beyond death.
Wow. Okay. That's a huge difference. From being towards death to freedom beyond death. That's a completely different outlook.
It's enormous, and Corbin explored this through what he called presential knowledge, especially in Ismaili gnosis.
Presential knowledge. What's that distinct from?
Well, Ismaili gnosis differentiates between, say, formal knowledge, concepts, representations, ideas about things, and presential knowledge.
Which is?
Direct, immediate, experiential. It's also called illuminative knowledge, Ishraq. It's not just thinking about something. It's like the sun of existence rising on the soul, a direct light.
So it makes the thing known, and even you yourself kind of co-present in that light.
Exactly. And for Corbin, the Mashriq, the East, in this sense, isn't just geography. It's the source of that primordial light, the light that unveils and creates presence.
So, okay, Heidegger gives him the tools, the hermeneutical method for understanding presence.
The analytical framework.
But Corbin uses that key to open doors onto horizons that Heidegger himself perhaps didn't explore or even foresee.
Absolutely. He wasn't limited by Heidegger's framework. He took the key and started exploring interpretative levels linked to Neoplatonists, different forms of Gnosticism, Jewish, Valentinian, Ismaili.
He made a choice then, a philosophical choice.
A profound one. He realized that if being towards death is the ultimate definition of human resolve, then death itself becomes like a wall, an enclosure, not an exit.
But he wanted an exit.
He saw true freedom beyond death as seeing death not as an end, but as a gate to other worlds, other modes of being.
And wait, he said it's the living who exit this world, not the dead. That sounds counterintuitive.
It does. It flips our usual thinking. It implies that the passage, the exit through that gate, happens while experiencing this life through a transformation of consciousness, not just after biological death.
And he connected this to a deeper meaning of the West, didn't he? As more than just geography.
Yes, metaphysically, as decline and setting sun. He found this powerfully expressed in a story by Suhrawardi called Western Exile.
And that story was important for him personally.
Hugely. He said reading it was the moment he kind of cast off the weight of finitude he felt in Heideggerian freedom. He saw Dasein in that context as the small, lost island, an island of Western exile trapped in the dark.
That's a really potent image, a sense of being cut off from something larger.
Right. And he worried that modern thought, psychoanalysis, sociology, linguistics, all valuable in their own ways, had unintentionally helped obscure any view beyond the purely material, the finite.
Blocking the view of that gate.
Blocking the view or even the meaning of freedom beyond death. That was his ultimate concern, that humanity might fail to grasp that possibility.
So Henri Corbin, looking back, he wasn't contradictory at all, was he?
No, not if you follow his journey. He really shows how a philosopher's true path goes beyond language or location. It's driven by this deep curiosity about philosophy itself.
And he showed how that hermeneutical key, if you shape it right, can unlock insights across traditions that seem miles apart. Heidegger's being, Islamic metaphysics.
Right. The really key thing to grasp, I think, is how he used Heidegger's hermeneutics as a tool, a flexible instrument, not some fixed dogma.
A starting point, not an end point.
Exactly. It allowed him to map out these completely new spiritual and philosophical landscapes. It wasn't just about translating between traditions. It was about finding that shared, deeper quest for meaning, for presence underneath it all.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If Corbin could suggest that the West, metaphysically, might mean decline, and that the philosophical goal could be freedom beyond death, not just accepting being towards death.
It prompts the question.
Yeah, what veils might be obscuring our own understanding in our own lives, our work? Are we inadvertently maintaining boundaries in our thinking?
And could shaping our own hermeneutical keys, our own ways of interpreting and being present, help us uncover hidden dimensions, new possibilities?
Because the real quest, as Corbin seemed to show, isn't just figuring out what is, but remaining open to what could be.
That potentiality, yeah. That's the horizon he invites us to consider.